Then the Buddha said, "Monks, these men were kings and held swords and scepters, yet even they were able to have grace and release their vengeance. How is it that you, monks who have ordained in the religion of a blessed one, cannot? Let your light shine forth, so that you can be their equal in forbearance and gentleness." But in spite of the Buddha's words, the monks would not unite. The Buddha then decided that he would spend the Vasa alone. After going on his alms rounds in Kosampi, the Buddha continued to the forest known as Pariloyaka, where he decided to spend the Vasa at the foot of a beautiful sala tree. There lived an elephant named Pariloyaka, who was the leader of a large herd of elephants. One day, Pariloyaka thought, "Living with a lot of other elephants is burdensome. When I pull down large branches, the other elephants fight over what I bring down. When I go to eat grass, I have to eat the leftovers of other younger elephants who eat the top portions of the grass. When I go to drink water, it is all muddy due to all the other elephants wading in and out of the water. I think that it would be much better for me to live alone." And so, the elephant known as Pariloyaka went into the forest where he saw the Buddha. Pariloyaka recognized the Buddha as a supreme being and dedicated himself to serve and attend to the Buddha's every need. Pariloyaka bowed down to pay respects to the Buddha. Then, he went in closer and used a large branch in his trunk to sweep the area around the Buddha. He grabbed the empty water pots and filled them up with water and brought them back to the Buddha. When hot water was required, the elephant rubbed sticks together with his trunk and put wood shavings on the sparks to start a fire. Then, he would heat small stones and roll them into a hole. Then he would pour water in the hole and use his trunk to check if it was hot. Once it was hot, he would invite the Buddha to bathe. In addition, Pariloyaka would gather various fruits and bring them back as offerings. When it was time to go on alms rounds, Pariloyaka would carry the Buddha's alms bowl and outer robe on top of his head. When they arrived at the edge of town, the Buddha told Pariloyaka, "This is as far as you should go. It is not safe for you near humans." Pariloyaka would then bow and give the Buddha the alms bowl and diligently wait there until the Buddha returned. Then, Pariloyaka would gently bow, waiting for the opportunity to carry the Buddha's bowl back to the sala tree. Then, while the Buddha ate the alms food, Pariloyaka would take a large branch with large leaves and fan the Buddha. At night, Pariloyaka would carry a large stick and walk around the perimeter around the sala tree to make sure that no animals or humans came in to disturb the Buddha's rest. He would do this until morning, at which he would once again begin his duties. A monkey who had watched Pariloyaka all day came to understand the value of the elephant's merit and wished to make merit as well. The monkey saw a branch that had a beehive with no bees within. He climbed the tree to grab the beehive and brought it down to offer to the Buddha. He sat and watched the Buddha. The Buddha did not eat the honey inside the beehive. The monkey realized that something must be wrong. He respectfully grabbed the branch to inspect the beehive and found that there were still some larvae inside. The monkey grabbed a small stick and gently removed all the larvae. Then, he re-offered the beehive to the Buddha and watched as the Buddha partook in the honey inside of the beehive. The monkey was overcome with happiness and jumped around and danced. He jumped for joy from one tree to another, unable to contain his bliss. One of the branches that he landed on broke, and he fell and impaled himself on a sharp branch below and died. His last moments were not filled with fear of death. Rather, he was overwhelmed with joy at how lucky he was to have made merit with the Supreme Buddha. The monkey was immediately reborn in the Tawatimsa heaven. While the Buddha was residing at the Pariloyaka forest, lay disciples visited bhikkhus at Kosampi, hoping to see the Buddha. They asked, "Brothers, where has the Supreme Teacher gone? Isn't he supposed to observe the Vasa here?" "He has gone alone to the Pariloyaka forest." "Why?" "He tried to unite us, but we would not be united." Wait, are you telling us that the Lord Buddha himself admonished you monks, and you still refuse to do what he asked of you? Exactly so. These bhikkhus, after being so lucky to receive admonition from the Buddha himself, failed to set aside their differences. They are the reason we are unable to see the Buddha. Therefore, we will not support bhikkhus such as them, for they're not deserving of our support. And so, the lay people of Kosampi withdrew their support and civility. They no longer asked after the monks, nor did they greet the monks when they encountered them. The monks got so little food that they were nearly famished, and after a few days, they were unable to bear it. The amount of suffering they experienced was enough to make them release their attachment to the argument and the desire to win or be right. They confessed their own sins to one another and begged for forgiveness, not caring at all what the other side had done. At that point, they were willing to do whatever it took just to make the suffering stop. Lay people, we have stopped fighting and have all reconciled. We have confessed our sins to each other and received pardons. We have done what the Buddha originally asked of us. Please treat us as you did before. You have begged for pardon from each other, but have you begged for pardon from the Buddha? We have not. Well, as soon as you beg for forgiveness from the Buddha and receive his pardon, we will go back to supporting you as before. But we cannot leave the monastery for 3 months. The lay people of Kosampi held firm to their decision. The bhikkhus of Kosampi had to wait until the end of the Vasa before they could journey to seek forgiveness from the Buddha. In that time, they experienced much hardship and suffering. The news of the Buddha spending the Vasa alone in the Pariloyaka forest spread quickly. When the news reached the great patron Anathapindika and the great patroness Visakha, they sent a message to Ananda, the Buddha's attendant, saying, "Please invite the Buddha to come to Savatthi. We are concerned for his well-being. We do not like to hear that our great teacher to whom we all owe a great debt is residing alone, without anyone to support or serve him. This is not appropriate for a supreme being such as a Buddha. When the Vasa ended, monks from all over came to Savatthi, hoping to be able to hear the Dhamma from the Buddha. They came to Ananda and said, "It has been so long since we were able to hear the Dhamma from the Buddha. Please help us at least get to hear him preach one more time." Ananda then led them to the Pariloyaka forest. When they reached the edge of the forest, Ananda told them to wait there and went in alone to inform the Buddha of their arrival. Ananda knew it was not proper to bring all these people into the Buddha's presence without first informing and asking for permission from the Buddha. Pariloyaka the elephant saw Ananda walking towards the Buddha, and so he grabbed a stick and rushed towards Ananda, thinking to protect the Buddha from this intruder. However, the Buddha said, "Pariloyaka, get out of the way. Do not block that bhikkhu. He is my personal attendant." When Pariloyaka heard these words, he got out of the way and even tried to help carry Ananda's alms bowl, but Ananda did not allow it. Pariloyaka then watched to see what Ananda would do with his bowl. Would he place it on the Buddha's seat? Where would he place it? When Ananda reached the Buddha, he placed his own bowl and robe on the floor and paid his respects to the Buddha. When Pariloyaka saw this, he felt his respect for Ananda rise, thinking, "A good student would defer to his master and would not place himself as the equal of his master. This bhikkhu is truly well trained and worthy of praise and respect." When the Buddha was informed of the visitors, he allowed Ananda to bring them to him. One of the monks said, "Blessed teacher, you've spent the Vasa here in this forest alone. You've endured much hardship, standing and sitting here alone as you have during these 3 months. You had no one to perform the major and minor duties for you, no one to offer you water for bathing, or to provide you with service. Bhikkhus, the elephant Pariloyaka, has performed all of these duties for me. For one who obtains such a companion, residing together is good. But if one were not able to find such a companion, it would be better to live a life of solitude than to reside with people with wrong view." At the end of the Buddha's Dhamma lesson, the monks all became arahants. Ananda then told the Buddha, "My lord, many noble disciples led by Anathapindika desire your return." "Very well, take my bowl and robe." When the elephant saw them preparing to leave, he went and stood on the road, blocking the way out. "What is the elephant doing?" "The elephant desires to give alms to all of you. He is just an animal, but he has served me well for so long. It would not be right to hurt his feelings." The elephant then gathered bananas and other fruits and offered them to the 500 monks. After they finished eating, the Buddha took his bowl and robe and set out. The elephant, seeing this, pushed his way through the monks and stood in the Buddha's way. What is the elephant doing? The elephant does not want me to go. Pariloyaka, I am going, never to return. Your karma caused you to be born as an elephant, an animal. You cannot hope to attain enlightenment in this life. Do not block my way. Do not create bad karma. The Buddha's words pierced Pariloyaka's heart. He thrust his trunk into his mouth and retreated slowly, never turning his back to the Buddha, weeping as he went. Had the Buddha turned back, Pariloyaka was willing to care for him for the rest of his life. As the Buddha left, Pariloyaka followed at a respectful distance, not wanting to lose sight of the Buddha. When they reached the edge of the forest, the Buddha said, Pariloyaka, it is not safe for you to follow me any further. The world of men is full of dangers for you. Stop. The elephant stopped where he was and wept uncontrollably. Knowing this was the last time he would ever see the Buddha, whether in this life or any other. He wept, knowing that in this life he could never learn what the Buddha taught. As the teacher slowly passed out of his sight, Pariloyaka died of a broken heart. He was reborn in the Tawatimsa heaven, where he had a golden mansion 30 leagues in length, and was attended to by 1,000 celestial nymphs. When the monks of Gosampi had heard that the Blessed One had reached Savatthi, they went there to beg for his pardon. When the king of Kosala heard that the quarrelsome monks of Gosampi had come to Savatthi, the king went to the Buddha and said, Sir, I will not allow those bad monks into my country due to the disrespect they showed you. Great king, those monks are not bad, but merely deluded and confused by their wrong views. They did not intend to disrespect me. They merely held their dispute at the forefront of their minds, and therefore did not pay attention to my words. They are now coming to beg for my pardon. Let them come. When Anathapindika heard that the monks of Gosampi had come to the monastery, he said, I will not allow those monks to enter the monastery. However, after speaking to the Buddha, Anathapindika allowed them to enter. The Buddha gave orders for the monks of Gosampi to be housed separately. The other monks neither sat or stood in their company. Many monks came to the Buddha and asked, My lord, I heard the stubborn and foolish monks of Gosampi have come here. Where are they? There they are. There they are. That's them? Look at them. Wow, the audacity! Do they not have any shame? One after another, the monks pointed fingers at them. The monks from Gosampi felt so much shame that they could not lift their heads. They threw themselves at the feet of the Buddha and begged for his pardon. Monks, the sin you committed was truly grievous. After receiving admonition from a Buddha, you refused to obey my words. Even in the past, wise men listened to the admonition from their parents, even while their parents were being killed in front of their eyes. After obeying their words, the wise men were able to establish sovereignty over 2 kingdoms and brought peace to the land. In those days, Prince Tikawu did not disobey the admonition of his mother and father. Even as they were being tortured and murdered, Prince Tikawu listened to their admonition. Afterwards, he obtained Brahmadatta's daughter in marriage and sway over the 2 kingdoms of Kasi and Kosala. You, however, cared more about being right, winning an argument, and holding onto your wrong views. If you continue to hold your wrong views as supreme, you will never be able to realize the right view. You must be brave and courageous enough to release your attachment to your personal views. Only then can you grasp the right view, the universal truth. At the conclusion of the teachings, the assembled monks became enlightened at various levels. What did you learn from this story? Let us know in the comments. We hope you enjoyed the video. Click like if you did, and click subscribe if you want to see our uploads. And consider making a donation to support our Buddhist animation project.